welcome. Today is, what is today? Let's see. Today is February 19th, 2025, year of our Lord. Here we go. I'm finally out. Sorry.
In a world of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, people just, they don't like the truth. And we're going to talk about the First Amendment today, a little bit about the First Amendment. But today is February 19, 2025, year of our Lord, episode 24. Good evening. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I greatly appreciate it. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube, don't be a poser, right? Come join Brew Media. Go do that now. Like, share, and of course, all comments are welcomed. If I don't respond to your comment, it's not that I'm trying to be rude or trying to ignore anybody. It's just that I just either didn't see it or didn't get to it. But I greatly appreciate it. And, let's get the conversation going. So again, we're going to talk about the First Amendment, some First Amendment issues. Hannity had Elon and Trump last night. That was pretty interesting. First buddy Elon says 60-minute journalists should go to prison. That's pretty interesting. We love free speech. Free speech, just as long as you say what we want you to say at the White House. Southwest Airlines is eliminating 1,750 jobs, the most ever in their history, right? But hey, we're living in the golden age, right? This is the golden age of our economy. Social Security spin. Who's defrauding who? We're also going to get into a Jewish man shoots 2 men in Miami. Why? Because he thought that they were Palestinian. Like that would matter. Also going to get into some more economics. The S&P is not at all-time highs when priced in real money, gold. And let's get into some economics and state of play. This and a whole lot more. So, strap yourself in. And let's get this party started. Of course, I'd like to start from a quote from our founding father, George Washington. His birthday is coming up in a couple of days. And I thought it was so fitting, considering the world we live in today. Here's a quote from the father of our country, who, by the way, should be the only American who has a day special for him as a federal holiday. Here it is. Truth will ultimately prevail where there is pains to bring it to light. And boy, do we need that now more than ever. Hey, Amy. Hi, how you doing, hon? Hope everything goes well for you tonight, today, and in the near future. I know you have a lot going on, and I'm definitely praying for you. Oh, look at this. I already broke community standards. I mean, what did I say? Oh, that's right. I'm talking about the First Amendment. So last night, Hannity had the ultimate interview with Trump and Elon. And, let's be honest, that wasn't really an interview. In an interview, you usually try to pry for hard information, right? To get them to, reveal something new. There was nothing new learned last night. I thought that Hannity was going to have them on and Elon was going to expose all the Social Security fraud, right? I said, wow, this will be great. That's why I watched it. I didn't watch it live because I was doing other things. I watched it early this morning when I got up. But he didn't show a list of anything. It was nothing. All we know now is that Doge is being ran by somebody. Nobody knows who it is, right? But that's okay, because as long as 49% of the country support him, that's all that matters, right? Because that's all Trump got. Trump didn't even get 50% of the vote, okay? He got 49.8%, okay? And I want to thank us independents and libertarians who once again prevented both parties from receiving an actual majority. So I want to thank everybody out there who had the guts to vote third party. So I appreciate you guys. But in the interview, I mean, it was a complete suck-up fest. I mean, it was like Hannity's fawning over them. Everybody's fawning over each other. You know, there was nothing there. It was just, you know, if you, you know, needed that kind of copium, it's copium, right? That's why I hate those type of programs. I can't stand, you know, when CNN does it. I can't stand when MSNBC does it too. You know, this isn't, you know, when they interviewed Biden, I said the same thing. You know, when MSNBC was interviewing Biden, it was so ridiculous. I watched when Howard Stern interviewed Biden. It was pathetic. You know, fawning over each other. I mean, you know, go somewhere where you're going to be asked a tough question, right? Make it interesting, right? So, you know, it's kind of amazing. I used to watch Hannity years ago, back when it used to be Hannity and Combs, and they used to debate each other. This is early Fox. But then when they got rid of Combs, and then Obama was elected, then Hannity just went way off the rails. And I gotta say, his interviewing skills are horrible. He's not interesting. He's kind of pathetic, to be honest with you. But again, who is he talking to? You know, he's talking to a lot of people who don't know any better, who just want to be spoon-fed, you know, their talking points. They need that comfort, the comfort of, oh man, he's going to give me everything I believe in. You know, he's not going to challenge my beliefs. You know, the biggest lie that all of these channels tell you is that they don't have an agenda. I'm telling you, I'm being honest, I have an agenda. You know, my agenda is to explain economics, freedom, liberty, the Constitution, right? To call out both parties, right? When they do something pathetic or wrong, right? Like I called out the Democrats for being pathetic, right? And trying to, and not accepting why they lost, right? Not accept, like just completely folding, right? And then I call out the Republicans when they do something that's wrong. Okay, so I am an equal opportunist. Okay, when it comes to screwing up the country. Okay, now when they do something good, I will say it, right? And you know, trust me, there will be good things that happen, I'm sure. And I've posted many good things whenever I see that. But I am not going to sit there and lie to you. I'm not. Just to make people feel good, right? Like Hannity does. And, you know, put on that fake smile and act like, you know, I'm not going to act like I'm a farmer or something. You know, I remember there was one interview. You know, Hannity, like when he goes out to Iowa, like he puts on the blue jeans and the flannel and he tries to look like he's part of the people. Let me tell you something. Hannity has more money than probably everybody you know combined. All right? These people are frauds. And let me tell you something else about Hannity. Hannity, Tucker Carlson, most of the people at Fox News, okay? When Donald Trump lost, okay, the election in 2020, whether if you accept the loss or not, when January 6th happened, what they did was they actually said, and you can look this up, were attacking MAGA. They attacked Trump. They said, thank God this buffoon is gone. Thank God those people are gone. They called you people disgusting, right? And so, you know, when you're sitting here supporting these pricks, right? Just remember what they said when you were down, right? See, it's easy to be on the team that's winning, right? It's not easy to be on the team when it's losing. Look, I'm a libertarian. I lose all the time, right? But if I want to be like Tucker Carlson, right? See, Tucker Carlson was a libertarian, okay? When he started the Daily Caller, okay? I mean, he was brilliant. He used to go on Alex Jones, right? He, you know, used to go to all the libertarian conventions and things, you know, and he used to call out Republicans and Democrats. And then what happened to Tucker Carlson? What happened to him? Do you know who one of his best friends was? Hunter Biden. Yes, him and Hunter Biden used to hang out in D.C., okay? Now, when he joined Fox, what was one of the first things he did? He threw Hunter Biden under the bus. Now, Hunter Biden deserved to be called out, right? But it's just the slimy nature of Tucker Carlson, who sat there, said the most disgusting things about Trump, okay? Said the most disgusting things about MAGA when Trump lost, okay? And mind you, in 2015, when Trump was running, Tucker was completely against Trump until he won, right? And then Tucker jumped on the bandwagon and then became a Republican, right? Because in order to be on Fox News, okay, you have to blow the Republican Party. Just like if you're on MSNBC, you've got to stroke the Democrats. You have no choice, or you're out of there. You know, Jesse Ventura, go look him up. Great governor of Minnesota, was a Navy SEAL, decorated guy. I mean, just an incredible human being. He won the governorship being an independent, okay? And he challenged both parties. And let me tell you something, Donald Trump flew to Minnesota to see how he won. And it's funny because it's Trump, it's Governor, what the hell was it? I just lost his name. Anyway, it was the governor who gave Governor Ventura, who gave Trump the playbook for the playbook he used. And, but my point is that when Jesse Ventura was on MSNBC and they were going into the Iraq war, Jesse Ventura was handed the white sheet. Now, all of these places get the white sheet. And the white sheet basically tells them their script, what they have to say, okay? Anybody on those channels that say, we are not told what to say, are lying to you, okay? And if you're foolish enough to believe them, that's your problem, right? Why, when you go to places like this, do you not get that kind of thing, right? Because we're not bought, right? Independent media is not bought by these billionaires, okay? You have to understand who's controlling the strings. Well, when we were going into Iraq, MSNBC wanted Jesse Ventura to read the paper, and the paper basically was like pro-war, pro going into Iraq, pro, believe it or not, supporting Bush. Jesse Ventura looked at it. He served in combat in Vietnam. He looked at it. He says, hell no. And he read something. He said something completely different. You know what they did? They fired him. They fired him for telling the truth. And then when they fired him, they sanctioned him so he couldn't work for 2 years. And that's what happens to you at those places when you actually come out to tell the truth. So when you're watching Tucker Carlson and his flannel and bullshit, another guy who's worth probably $1 billion by now, you know, how did Tucker Carlson change every view he ever had? How? Because he's paid him more for. Look, if I wanted to be really popular, I was thinking of this today. I was thinking today, man, if I really want to be popular, all I got to do is just put on a MAGA shirt, put on a MAGA hat, or join the Democrats. I could join either team and just be fake. And I could be seriously, with my chops. No, I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm sure I could rack up numbers, ridiculous numbers, because that's the lanes that everybody's used to. Everybody's used to, hey, you either got to come to this lane or you got to come to this lane. And what the both parties try to do is sweep everybody into their side. Well, guess what? I will not be swept into either side because I'm not part of either group, And so my agenda is to bust through that thinking that, man, like the strangest thing to me is that automatically, if I don't support something that Trump does, like I have several things I'm going to go over tonight that I just do not support. Oh, you're a liberal. Oh, you're a Democrat. Oh, you're a socialist? Really? Because I preach freedom and economics more than anybody, more than Tucker Carlson, more than anybody you'll ever find on Fox. The only guy that'll come close to me who was ever on Fox was John Stossel. You can look him up. And guess what? They fired John Stossel because he is a libertarian. He did not give up his roots. And so he's on YouTube and X and other things. And I ask people to go out there and check that stuff out. Yes, Ken, that's right. Herd mentality. Well, you know what, Ken? The other night, I was on and I said I had a negative story about Trump. And I had like 15, 20 people on. And I'll tell you what, half the people left. They left instantly. The second I brought up something negative about Trump. You know, look, should I not criticize him? Should I not? You know, if I believe he does something wrong, should I just, pretend like it didn't happen, right? Like, let's take Doge, for instance. You know, I'm just ripping. I'm not even going off my notes. So, Doge was sold to us where, first it was Elon and Vivek were going to work together, and they were going to advise the president on what to get rid of. That's what we were told. Now, then it turns into Vivek's gone. No, he's in the witness protection program. Nobody knows where that guy went, right? And let's be honest. The reason why they got rid of Vivek is because he opened up a can of worms when Vivek exposed Elon, Vivek, and Trump on wanting to bring in foreign cheap labor. Does everybody forget that story? It's like everybody just forgot. Like, MAGA voted for America, right? Voted for American workers, right? You did not vote for cheap labor, okay? Or cheaper labor. And I dug into the numbers, and this was one of my first episodes. You know, the labor that they bring in, Trump, Elon, and Vivek for their massive companies, okay? They get an average of $40,000 less that they have to pay. Plus, you know, taxes are exempt, Social Security is exempt, all of this stuff. You know, where's those cuts? Where are the cuts to corporate welfare? But anyway, I'm not going to get on corporate welfare. But, okay, so now Vivek opens up a whole can of worms. He's gone. Now Elon is supposed to be in charge of Doge, right? This is what we're told. But now it turns out, because now people are investigating all of this and seeing if there is a conflict of interest, which of course there is, right? Because now Elon is in charge of parts of the government that give him contracts. How is that not a conflict of interest, right? But I digress from that. So, what they've come up with on the fly, Elon's not in charge anymore. Well, then who is? Who has our personal information? Who has all of this stuff, right? That you, like a king, have magically put together. I want anybody, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or MAGA, whatever you decide that you are, right? Whatever you identify as. Where in the Constitution does it give the president the right to create a department? Because DOGE stands for Department of Government Efficiency. Department, first word. Also, we've learned they're not doing it for free. There are federal employees at DOGE. Who decided on that budget? How much is that budget? You know, do they get benefit? I mean, do we have a right to know this stuff? Right? So, again, you know, they talk about transparency and they're not being transparent. And look, I go after Biden the same way. So I know some people are saying, oh, but you only do that with Trump. No, I don't. You know, I didn't have this show when Biden was president. Oh, I did for like a week or so. And that week I was all over Biden, right? Like when he pardoned his whole family and stuff, you know. But, you know, look, just because you are willing to give away your 4th, 5th, 6th Amendment, right? Just because you're willing to give away your rights, don't give away mine, right? You guys, I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats, we're willing to give up our rights for 9/11, right? You guys both were willing, both sides were willing to give up our rights for 9/11. You did it again during COVID, right? And speaking of COVID, because, I've had a lot of debates recently over COVID, I'm going to play a few clips just to remind people what Republicans did during COVID. I pulled some tapes, and we're just going to sit here and listen to a few of them because, the lying and bullshit over COVID, I just can't take it anymore. Look, again, if you want to live in a fantasy world where you pretend nothing ever happened and, the world is marshmallows, you have that right. Okay? But I'm not going to play along in that. I'm going to tell you the truth, even if it hurts me. So anyway, just give that a minute. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Oh, somebody dropped off. Yeah. See, people don't want to learn the truth. See, some more people dropped off because they don't want to hear the truth. Give me 1 second. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. So first buddy Elon says 60-minute journalists should be arrested.
Schools in Kershaw and Lancaster counties to be closed Monday, March 16th and remain closed for a minimum of 14 days.
That's my governor of South Carolina.
Health and Environmental Control,
Republican.
To consult with the Superintendent of Education, Molly Spearman, and local school district leadership to provide guidance on if and when remaining school districts should decide to close schools and for how long.
Yeah.
Superintendent Spearman has been in hourly contact with the school district superintendents and administrators, and I would like to thank her and the local school district officials for their patience and professionalism and attention to this crisis. I know that they, like everyone, are under a tremendous amount of pressure in making their decisions. All state government offices are to remain open for operation during the enormous business hours. State employees shall report to work as usual. Visitation at state, county, and local correctional facilities in all 46 counties are suspended immediately.
Yeah.
DHEC is to immediately
but this never happened.
To nursing
this never happened, right? Republicans never shut down, right? Right? It never happened. I'm going to play another clip in a little bit, but that was my state, and you don't get and you don't get more red than the state of South Carolina. So anyway, no. So first buddy Elon says 60-minute journalists should be arrested. Elon Musk
Distance from one another.
And the First Amendment absolutist says 60-minute journalists should be, and I quote, get a nice long jail sentence in prison. This is completely reckless and will backfire eventually on Elon. You think, Mr. Elon, that because you think a report that they did wasn't to your liking, that journalists should be arrested or in prison? If we, meaning people like myself, challenge you, you think I deserve jail. I mean, can you imagine what would happen if Obama said something like that? I'm sure Jared Kushner, friend George Soros, would love this. Don't forget, Jared Kushner and George Soros have done millions of dollars of business together. Maybe you guys can get together and make this happen. Then Soros can imprison the people on the right, and you, Elon, can imprison everyone on the left. And then the donors, the corporate masters like yourself, Elon, can take over the country. You know, it was funny because today I was watching two friends of mine. You know, I had posed a question about the interview that happened last night with Hannity. And both people were talking about kind of the same thing, but on the opposite sides. And it's funny because both parties are ruled by the billionaires. It's just, you know, what's your preference of billionaire? And that's why the libertarians lose, is because we're not bought by billionaires. That should tell you something. You know, what started this was an X post from 60 Minutes where it stated, President Trump says U.S. aid is rife with fraud. But Andrew N., a Republican former administrator for U.S. aid, calls that utter nonsense. Andrew N. says that U.S. aid is the most accountable aid agency in the world. I don't say that. That's what this person's saying. That post is linked to a 60 Minutes interview where he believes President Trump doesn't have the power to cut off funding. Here's the problem with all this. Fraud and not supporting a program because you don't believe in the program are two totally different things. Now, that's the problem with all of this. You know, look, I don't support U.S. aid. You know, here's the thing also, is that, you know, U.S. aid goes all the way back to JFK, okay? And, you know, that means every Congress and every president since JFK have supported U.S. aid. That includes President Trump all 4 years of his first administration. Why am I calling this out? Because, again, it's selective. You know, it's like, well, now look at all the fraud that we found. Yeah, but your guys were supporting this. Now, I'm glad that we got rid of it. I support getting rid of U.S. aid. You know, because there's nothing in the Constitution that says Congress should be taxing us and stealing our money to give somewhere else. If you want to give to these countries, then you are more than willing to do that. You could do that. But the government should not be doing that. But beyond that, the reporter has a right, whether if you agree with him or not, to have his or her opinion. You do not go to jail for a bad opinion or even lying in a report. You know, we have a First Amendment and you're allowed to lie. And trust me, you know, Republicans and Democrats lie all the time. I mean, I'm not talking about individuals who are watching this necessarily, but I'm saying like politicians, right? And so, you know, Elon is kicking people off of X. I'll probably get kicked off of X eventually, you know, because I'm calling them out. And, you know, do you want to live in a world, in a society where, you know, if you have the wrong opinion, you go to jail? You know? So this dovetails into my second story. We love free speech just as long as you say what we want. So this was a big story. Trump banned the AP, Associated Press, because they didn't use the approved title, Gulf of America. Now, again, you know, look, you know, you say, hey, I'm for the First Amendment, and, you know, you are a champion of it, but here you are canceling somebody because they didn't use the terminology that you wanted them to use. You know, is that really supporting the First Amendment? I don't think so. You know, now Trump has a right to not have the AP, you know, in the Oval Office asking questions, but, you know, it just makes Trump look cheap. Now, here's the truth about Gulf of America. The rest of the world does not acknowledge that. It's only the U.S. that acknowledges Gulf of America. And so, you know, but it doesn't matter. Should I be banned from having this show, let's say? Should I be fined because I didn't say Gulf of America, which sounds stupid anyway? You know, I'm calling it Gulf of Mexico. Not just because I think the name is dumb, Gulf of America. It doesn't even make sense. First off, it's a joining ocean. It's been here for 400 years called Gulf of Mexico. You know, but, you know, again, you call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it whatever I want. Somebody else might call it, you know, the Gulf of Spades. You know, it doesn't matter what these names are. It's ridiculous. But again, you know, but something that was pretty fascinating was watching people's reaction to this. Like, if you were a MAGA fan, you know, you were like, oh, look at this logo, it's the Gulf of America. Like it was some big friggin' achievement. You know, you got nothing for that. Okay? This didn't help your grocery bill. This didn't help to lower your rent, you know, or lower your taxes, right? This actually costs you money, right? Because when the government has to change a name or change something, right? There's a cost to that, right? So I just want to know, what did you gain by doing something like that? You didn't gain anything. And that's the pitiful part of this whole thing. Like, people, you know, they have pride in nothing. To me, that's nothing, right? Like, you know, I remember when I started my first business and I got my first check. And I was like, man, you know, the pride in that was just unbelievable. And it just made me kept going and going and going. Like, what did you get out of this? This is nothing. This doesn't help your family. This is not going to help you with a chronic disease. You know, this is going to help you pay the car bill. But, you know, hey, you know, you like what you like. But I kind of look at it as pettiness. But, you know, everybody has their own thing. So, any questions? Maybe people acted like he cured cancer. That's true. So anyway, Southwest Airlines is eliminating 1,750 jobs, or 15% of its corporate workforce. These are homeowners, people with mortgages, people with car payments, people with children, right? And the first major layoffs in the company's 53-year history. The Dallas-based airline said Monday that the job cuts would be focused almost entirely on corporate overhead and leadership positions, including senior leadership and directors. These job cuts represent roughly 15% of the company's management. The job cuts, which are scheduled to be mostly completed by June, are part of a plan by the airline to slash costs and transfer the company into a leaner, faster, more agile organization. See, I think here what's going on, and I watched it, I said a story about Walmart. There were a bunch of companies that I listed over the past couple of weeks that are having all these layoffs, but they have record profits. I think what's happened in this election, we've made it okay to just fire people. I think we have given a green light to step all over the worker. I think we've given a green light to piss all over the backbone of the country, which is the employees. And I think America is going to be in big trouble the more jobs that are getting cut, right? Because now you're not just having government jobs cut, you have private industry cutting massive jobs. This is the biggest cut in Southwest history. You don't think that's going to have a problem with homes, you know, car loans, credit cards, right? Medical bills, credit card bills, right? And here's the thing. Southwest has record profits. Again, another company with record profits, just destroying jobs because we've made firing great again, you know? Southwest CEO Bob Jordan said in a statement, this decision is unprecedented in our 50-year history, and changes require that we make difficult decisions. Oh, yeah. You know, That's like when George Bush was saying, oh, it was so difficult to go into Iraq. Was it? Really? You marched in there pretty quick. You know what was difficult? For both parties to get out, right? And even Trump didn't get out. Trump waited till Biden got in, and then he they all fumbled their way out, right? After 20 years of fighting, or 18 years, whatever it was. No, trust me. For these CEOs, it's not hard. And you know why it's not hard? Because people don't care. This is the season of firing people. And, you know, this shouldn't be a left-right issue. This should be an American issue. We should feel for these people being fired. You know, these people have college degrees. They're probably paying for them. You know, they have families. You know? Oh, but maybe one's a Democrat or one's a Republican, so we shouldn't care for that person. You know, that's ridiculous. I don't believe in that. You know, let's not forget that the taxpayers bailed out Southwest with an $8 billion bailout just a couple of years ago. Okay? How do corporations get away with taking our hard-earned tax dollars and then using that money to enrich their executives and investors? How does lobbying and political donations help them get away with exploiting their customers? Something to think about while you are stranded at the airport because your flight was just canceled. Instead of investing more heavily in such critical upgrades, Southwest is pumping billions of dollars into stock buybacks and the years leading them up to the bailouts. I mean, how is this not on every news broadcast tonight? How? You know, Southwest took billions of dollars from us, okay, recently. This is only a few years ago, okay? And how did they pay back the American people? Well, I can tell you how. With poor service, cuts to service, firing people, okay? Was that a good use of your tax dollars? You want to talk about waste? How about President Trump? You signed an executive order saying no bailouts during my term. How about you do that? Why don't you send a signal to your billionaire buddies that when this economy crashes, you're not going to run with the checkbook again like you did for COVID? You know? And speaking of COVID, I'm going to have another clip of COVID once I cue it up. And once it's queued up, I'll play that. All right, so I'm going to play another clip of COVID because, again, people don't remember this stuff, and I have the clips, and we're going to play them to show that we did shut down in Republican states. Take it.
We've been showing you those images of partiers on spring break down in Florida, ignoring the warnings to socially distance from one another.
Yeah, there's at least 20 people in that picture, but now it seems the party may be
over
20 as bars and
together.
restaurants are closed, and some cities have decided to close their beaches. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis joins us right now from Tallahassee.
No, but
Governor,
he didn't do it. He didn't do it. No.
Good morning. Well, those images are disturbing because the CDC says no groups of more than 10, and then you see that stuff. And so I understand Clearwater Beach and Naples have decided to close their beaches to groups, but at the same time, you're not closing the state beaches
Miami and Naples
to groups of
they didn't shut down,
less than 10, right?
Yeah.
So the message, I think, for spring breakers is that the party's over in Florida. You're not going to be able to congregate on any beach in the state. Many of the hot spots that people like to go to, whether it's Miami Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Clearwater Beach, are closed entirely for the time being. The bars are closed, so you're not going to have a place to congregate there. So we would just tell those folks, maybe come back next year when things are better. But that is not what we're looking for here in the state of Florida. Every single beach will have to to abide by the CDC guidelines.
But we love them.
No more than 10 people. You have to be socially distant.
Yeah, on the
Not
beach.
every beach is going to remain open, but some will. We have sheriff's deputies in places like
We'll
Brevard
decide what's
County.
open or not.
They're going to be out on ATVs, making sure there's no groups. And I think that's a good approach. I would point out, though, guys, the images from Clearwater was from the Saturday. At that point, the CDC guidance was groups of 250 or more. Then on Sunday, they changed it to 50. And so we were working with locals to try to figure out, okay, what would make sense for us on a whole variety of things. And then the next day on Monday, they changed it to the 10. And so that's at that point, we're like, okay, well, we just need to steer clear of any large groups.
Yes,
so we did it for the beaches.
It's never happened.
And then we did it for the bars and closed the bars down. So, and I also would say this. We're seeing massive cancellations going forward. I think some of those pictures were for people who had started coming down here before this got to the level that it did. And so I think a lot of this stuff, you're going to see a lot fewer people coming into Florida right now. The numbers are really off the charts in terms of the cancellations.
Governor, I'm so glad you came on to explain that, because I was going to ask you, what do you say to the critics that say this should have been done a lot sooner? But Saturday was a totally different story than it is here Thursday. Many of us were planning different events at the beginning of the week, and all of those were canceled. What do you say? I was reading a story that Clearwater's not closing its beaches, though, until Monday.
She writes Bible
Right. Well,
stories.
so they got to make the decisions as how they see it. But regardless of those local decisions, you're not going to be able to congregate like those images that you saw. That's just not something that we're going to allow.
Not going to allow it.
We want to work constructively with the locals to get the best solutions. But I would also say, when you have these types of cancellations, that's going to have a major effect on a lot of workers in the state of Florida. Our unemployment rate prior to this got down to 2.8%. I mean, our economy was humming, things were going along great. And now this external event, this virus, is going to dislocate a lot of people. And
it wasn't the virus, it was the government that dislocated us.
We're working
that
hard
was
to
the
be
fraud.
able to work with them, just as we work to be able to protect our citizens from the virus.
Sure. Governor, when you talk to the president and the White House team,
There
what
we
do
go.
you tell them your main concern?
Pay attention.
For us, it's just supplies. I mean, we've ramped up testing, but I need more swabs. I need more of the reagents. If we have that, we could dramatically expand the testing, and I think that will really help us, because part of the problem with some of the stuff that we've been doing, and I don't quarrel with it, but it's not really based on data in our country. It's more based on modeling. When you get the more tests in there, like South Korea did, you're able to isolate those cases, figure out where the problems are, and then have a nice targeted solution to it. So that is really the number one thing. The PPE, the swabs, the different things that go into testing these things, the more we can get of those, we really can get into a good groove here. And I think we'll be able to help a lot of people and prevent this virus from spreading to the extent it has.
All right, you have a lot of snowbirds that live there that I guess are going to stay there in Florida and not come back up here to New York. But a lot of our friends cancel their trips to the Bahamas or or to Europe or whatever, and they all ended up in Florida. So I hope they didn't carry it down there. God bless you. Thank you so much, Governor.
Well, people are being they're being very mindful. A lot of folks are really taking this seriously, and we thank them, particularly our senior citizens.
Yeah,
it's all about personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you very much.
Okay, so there you go. But that didn't happen. Remind you, that didn't happen. The bars weren't closed. The clergy in the churches weren't arrested. Republican states didn't close, right? Again, I'm not looking to fight with people, but can't we at least agree on basic facts, right? Can't we at least agree that both parties acted poorly and some acted worse than others, right? But when somebody says to me, oh, it was only the Democrats that shut down, I'm sorry. As an American, I take offense to that. Because, after 9/11, I couldn't believe at the amount of the way the Constitution was trampled over. But what both parties did during COVID is unforgivable. It's unforgivable how anybody could forgive what these two parties did, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And anybody who knew me on Facebook back then, you know, I was calling it out in live time, in real time, okay? I didn't come along to the party when it was popular, okay, like most people, you know? And I just want to say to the people out there who denied what they just heard, that you don't help your cause if you purposely lie. Now, if you don't remember, that's fine. I understand it was traumatic. It was a long time ago. That's one thing. But to say that that it never happened is kind of ridiculous. I'll be honest with you. So, again, in this show, I'm going to call out the BS on both sides. And that was a pretty big hit to Republicans. I don't know if they're really, well, no, MAGA too. So, again, so that was one clip from South Carolina, the reddest state in the union, I would argue, and Florida, you know. So, story number 4 is Social Security. So who's getting the shaft? So, you know, here's the thing about Social Security. Like, because of this whole thing with Doge, like, that's great. Look, hey, you know, if there are people getting checks who don't deserve them, right? They got to get kicked off. And, you know, I've been watching Democrats say the same thing. So I don't know why we can't go through Congress and have this done the right way, okay? You know, every Democrat that's on my page actually agrees with you on the premise of getting rid of fraud, waste, you know, they agree with you, but everybody's talking past each other. And by Trump creating this fake, you know, this unconstitutional department, which, again, nothing in the Constitution grants Trump the power to create a department that now has a budget, okay? So, Social Security, first off, Social Security needs to be rolled back. You know, you're not guaranteed a Social Security check. Let me just say that. You know, a lot of people believe, wrongly, that they're entitled to a Social Security check. And the truth is you're not, okay? There is nothing in the Social Security laws or in the Constitution that grants you a Social Security check. That is why Congress can take it away, right? And so, you know, first off, you're very lucky to even get a check if you're getting one, right? But here's the problem. The problem is, and it's kind of like COVID, right? Where most people are against Social Security until they're on it, right? So a lot of people who support Social Security are now on Social Security, right? And so they now are forced to support it, right? Because that's what they're living on. But Social Security is a complete Ponzi scheme, right? It's a system where you have the young people, generally poorer people, subsidizing the livelihoods of the wealthier people, boomers, right? Some Gen Xers, right? So, now, I think Social Security, we need an off-ramp, okay? We need to stop paying people with over $1 million worth of assets, okay? Look, if we did that alone, right, we could probably add another couple of decades to the program. It wouldn't fix it totally because it's a failed program. And I, you know, I just can't stand when Republicans post things like, well, if the government didn't waste your money, Social Security would still be there. Wrong. Social Security was doomed the day it was made, right? It's doomed based on the premise that you have one group paying for another group. And that in order for the Ponzi scheme to keep going, right? Let's say nothing is touched, right? Which nothing has been touched out of Social Security in many years, okay? But let's say we just left it to ride. It falls in on itself like a dying star. Why? Because you don't have enough people working, paying into the system to afford all the people that are on it. It's a dead program, okay? And so, you know, this could have been a great opportunity for both parties to come together and actually hammer out a deal on Social Security. Instead, we're wasting our time looking at a fake meme. Well, it's not fake, but at a meme that gives the impression that people that are 150 years old are collecting Social Security, which they're not. Okay? And here's the thing. There is fraud in Social Security, right? But it's not that's not the fraud, right? And so what happened was, you know, the smartest man in the world, Elon, you know, the new political lord and savior of the Republican Party, first wife, first mate of Trump, and best bud, read the program wrong to Social Security. He read the program wrong. That's what happened. So, you know, so now you have a whole bunch of people out there who are saying that all these people are getting paid when they're not, right? Now, if it comes out that they can prove that those people are getting paid, I will be the first one to come up and say, you know what, I was wrong. But so far, nobody has shown the proof. And until then, you know, people should see, this is the problem. Everybody was quick to post that meme and talk about people 200 years old getting Social Security. But then when it came out that Elon read the numbers wrong and that he read the program wrong, you guys didn't go back and fix what you said. See, you want everybody else to be held accountable, but you won't hold yourself accountable, right? Yeah, fair enough, Julie. You know, and see, this is the problem. This is the problem in America. Nobody wants to admit when their side is wrong. So everybody just stays in their corners, right? You know, look, I look up to people like Milton Friedman, people like Ron Paul, right? People like, you know, Adam Smith. You know, but even Milton Friedman, I disagreed with him on a whole host of stuff. Okay? I called him out on that stuff. You know? There were libertarian candidates that I did not, that I thought really screwed up. I loved Gary Johnson, but, you know, he screwed up when he was running for president, and I called him out on that. I thought he could have ran a better campaign. You know, I thought, you know, I really thought Joe Jorgensen could have done better. I thought Chase Oliver could have done better. You know, and, you know, so, yeah, you have to call out your party when they're wrong, right? You don't help anybody lying for them or pretending or just, or what people will do is they stick to the lie. Like, oh yeah, no, well, you know, this is what I believe and this is what I heard and I'm just sticking to it. What? You know, just like COVID. You know, people say it enough and they just believe. Florida never shut down. South Carolina never shut down. Texas never shut down. Louisiana never shut down, right? They just believe it, right? because they've heard it so many times. They actually believe it. And so this program is to just tell the truth. Whether if you accept it or not. And I know people left, people leave, they come and they go, right? People can't handle the truth. They just can't. It's a sad, I'll tell you what. You know, I was having a debate with somebody, and I could tell the other person got pissed off. And it was over the Social Security story. And it's a male friend of mine. And he's friends with me for years. Friends with me for years. And he was so beholden to the false information that 150-year-olds were getting paid that he started speaking out of tongue, started getting really pissed off, got very close to calling me names. He didn't call me names, but he got very close. And, you know, and all I kept saying was, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Why is that? Why? Where's the proof? Can't give it to me. Where's the proof? Oh, it's coming. That's a new thing that they give you now. Well, it's coming. Look, when you say something, right, you make an accusation. If I make an accusation, it's up to me to show you the proof. Elon said, this is what's going on, right? So, see, the problem I have right now with MAGA and Republicans is you're not holding your boy accountable. You're not. Instead, gee, you should be pissed off, not me. You should be pissed off because he's giving you bad information and making you go out there and look like a bunch of fools, right? Why do you accept that? Right? He made you look like a fool. When you posted that, you look like a fool because it wasn't true. And what's even more foolish is sitting in it and not going, hey, you know what? This was completely wrong. Okay, the other story was the condoms in Gaza. Okay? The condoms in Gaza were not Palestinians. They weren't the people right next to the Jewish people that got the condoms. It was Gaza in Africa. Okay, and everybody posted. Good friends of mine who I highly respect. You know, the problem is, I'm going to tell you the real problem. Now that Elon has become the minister of truth, Trump is now the minister of truth, right? People like Tucker Carlson and Hannity, they're the ministers of truth, okay? These are your apex of truth, okay? What they say is like the Torah, right? It's the tablets, passed down from God himself, okay? And the second you see it, you gotta post it. You know, everybody posts the same fucking thing, right? Look at me. Look, I'm first. I said it, right? I'm repeating exactly what my God told me to post, you know? Instead of thinking for a minute, ask yourself, is this plausible? Could this be real? Do you even question it? Do you even question that you might be getting played? Right? Again, look at how Doge is sold. Now, again, and this is the thing that got me with my friend. Because look, you're not going to find anybody on the planet that I know of that wants government cut more than me. I am against Social Security. I'm against Medicaid. I'm against Medicare. You know, I'm against every social program out there, okay? I limit the government down so small that you can't even see it. So you guys don't even play in the same sandbox as me, right? I would be considered radical in today's society with my type of government. My type of government represents what the founders would have had, right? So this person who I was talking to said to me, you shouldn't ever talk about cutting government again. You know, are you kidding me? Like, you know, because I don't swallow what your masters told you was real, it's not. Right? So you're mad at me for calling out the lie, but you're not mad at the person who started the lie. You know how stupid that is? And then you post a lie and then stick to it. And then what happens is, because you know it's a lie, then what people do is they'll go on sites, weird sites, on X or wherever that they go, and they'll look for comfort. Oh, I believe that this is real, and this is why it could be real. And, they come up with all sorts of stories because you're looking for the pacification, the coddling, to stick to the lie. And it's like, when do you think for yourself and go, man, this is bullshit? First, my first reaction to that story with Social Security was, where are these banks that have accounts with 150-year-olds, 200-year-olds, okay? First off, there's only a couple of banks that old. Wells Fargo's one of them, right? Most banks don't even go back that far, okay? But the whole premise was ridiculous from the jump, okay? But okay, look, if it turns out that there are people collecting checks that are 150 years old, I promise everybody, look, I am not too prideful. I will come on and admit I was wrong. But all I ask of all of you is to do the damn same thing. Admit that you're wrong. Admit, hey, I posted this. It was wrong. Why do you stick to it? That's the part I don't understand. You're not helping Doge. You're not helping Trump, right? You're not helping your cause. The cause should be limited government. The cause should be the Constitution, not protecting Elon or Trump, right? Let me tell everybody something. The freedom movement started long before Trump, long before Elon, okay? It started before 1776, okay? I forgot. I got to look him up. There was a young boy in Massachusetts who was shot by the British. That is when the revolution started. And let me tell you, okay? I stand for the Constitution first. So if the president does something on either side, because this same person brought up how, well, did you like it when Obama did whatever? And I said, no, actually, I called out Obama when he did his, broke the Constitution as well. Look, I am not going to play favorites to either side. When Obama did it, when Biden did it, when Bill Clinton did what he did, when he was in office, I called them out, okay? And trust me, there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to call Democrats out on, and Republicans and libertarians. If a libertarian does something, look, they've been squashed, reduced down to almost nothing, but, if they do something, I promise you, I will call them out. But, I'm certainly not going to post stuff and then just pretend that what I said was true. And I'm not going to, defend something that's not true. Like, I don't understand what people get out of that. So anyway, so I wanted to talk about one more story. So a Jewish man shoots two men. Why? Because he thought that they were Palestinian. Are you kidding me? This was in Miami. Mordechai Brofman, 27, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of attempted murder after he shot at the victim's car 17 times with a semi-automatic handgun. The victim said he pulled up alongside them, rolled down his windows, and fired on them. As the victims tried to drive away, Brofman kept firing at them. Brofman then drove home like nothing happened. However, shortly after the police showed up and arrested him, you could see all the bullet holes in the car. I mean, this was just a disgusting act. This was an outright assassination attempt. According to the arrest sheet, Brofman said that while he was driving his truck, he saw 2 Palestinians and shot and killed them both. Well, he was wrong about 2 things. 1, he didn't kill them. And 2, they weren't Palestinian. One was shot in the shoulder and the other was grazed in the arm, thankfully. They were not only not Palestinian, they were Jewish. I mean, you know, this is where the world is. They were Jewish Israelis visiting the U.S. The victims, Ari Rabbe and his father, initially thought they were being attacked, targeted by an anti-Semitic attack. Groffman is now facing 15 years in prison. And I don't believe that's long enough for that. Okay? Look, the person who murdered my brother got only 10 years. This is here in South Carolina. You know, so-called tough on crime Republicans, right? Well, the person who murdered my brother only got 10 years. Now, mind you, you know, she's elderly, but still, you should get life. I'm sorry, you took a life, and you should get life. And I'm sorry, you don't get rewarded because you missed, right? Like this guy is getting down in Florida. I thought Florida was tough on crime. 15 years for attempted murder on 2 people? That's only 7.5 years. You know, that's nothing. You know, this guy deserves, you know, a minimal of, I don't know, 35 years per person. That would be a life sentence. You know, so, you know, again, why were these 2 guys targeted? Well, they were racially profiled. It's a hate crime, which, you know, again, my limited government, I'm so limited in government, I don't even support hate crimes, right? Because, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if I shoot you, if I attack you, and, you know, whether or not if it's because you're, you know, Jewish, black, gay, or whatever, it doesn't matter if I hate that demographic when I do it. The point is, I did it, and that should be enough. If I, you know, unalived you, then I should face the consequences of that. So yeah, that was just a horrible story that I wanted to share with everybody. Also, moving on, look, I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna get going. The hour went very quick. I guess a lot of people are doing whatever or didn't comment. But look, I appreciate everybody, and I hope everybody has a great night. Look, tell the truth, right? Don't sit in the lie. Call them out, right? Look, if they're lying to you and doing all this stuff, they're not helping your cause. I'm just letting you know, right? And just a rule of thumb to Republicans and Democrats, okay? When a Democrat steps over the Constitution, okay, it allows, and nobody does anything, it allows the Republican to do it. And then when the Republican does it, it allows the Democrat to do it. Let me tell you, the reason why our country is so screwed up, and I've been saying this since my first episode, I wish Trump would be the most successful president our country has ever seen. But you can't do it if you don't follow the Constitution. And if we followed the Constitution, we could be wildly successful, right? On most of my posts, I'll write, freedom equals prosperity, okay? And that's what made America great, was our freedom, was our individual liberty, okay? It wasn't, you know, idolizing a politician, right? It wasn't some program, okay? it was that we had individual freedom, we had economic freedom, right? And those are the type of values that I would like to restore. So look, hopefully Trump cuts a bunch of government. I hope he goes through Congress so it sticks, because you have to remember, everybody, every time you guys think Trump is winning with his pen, you're actually losing, because as you've seen with Joe Biden, the next president will just undo everything that he did. So Republicans, voters need to really smarten up and demand Congress to do their job. Okay? Follow the Constitution. It works. It worked. It can still work. If you don't believe in the Constitution, then I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Then this program wouldn't be for you. Right? Because, you know, think about it. The thing that Republicans and Democrats do is they play the, well, he did it, so now I can do it. You know, well, he did it. Why can't I? Why, you know, so it gives a license for the other side to violate the Constitution, right? To violate people's rights, right? That's another thing that people are missing in all of this. Whenever a president steps over the Constitution, that person is stealing individual liberties from people, okay? You can't have both, right? You can't say that I'm for individual liberty and economic freedom while disregarding the Constitution, right? Now, so that's where I am. So that's why I'm against Doge, based on that it's an unconstitutional department, and the things that are going on are not, because it's unconstitutional, then that makes everything it does unconstitutional. That's why we need Congress. If you want to create Doge, go through Congress, right? Do it the right way. Hey, you want to reform Social Security? Go through Congress, right? You want to reform you want to get rid of the EPA, the Department of Education, all of this stuff. Go through Congress. Stop using your pen, Mr. President, right? Let this stuff stick. Send the message. Tell Congress you're not going to raise the debt ceiling anymore, that the party's over, right? If that's what you want to do. But that pen is going to sink your presidency. I'm telling you, Republicans are going to regret it in the midterms. You guys are going to regret it come the next time around. And let me tell you, today, the leader of Doge is Elon. Tomorrow it'll be George Soros. You watch. They're going to put their billionaire in there, and then you're going to be screaming bloody murder. And that's the problem with stuff like this. So look, I got to go. I appreciate everybody. Have a great night. Go to my YouTube at Brew Media. Like, share, follow. And I appreciate you. Have a great night. See you Friday.